friends, fellow artists, and Art League family. My name is William McMahon, and I'm here today to present a video on how to create an abstract brush pen drawing. Hope you enjoy. So today I'm going to be doing my first demonstration on an abstract art piece. I'm going to be showing you my technique for using the Pentel color brush medium point brush pen. My superhuman strength there to open that thing. And then what you do is you come out and you unscrew the pen. Then you screw it back in. You actually have to rotate in the opposite manner. Now it's engaged, and the cartridge here is filled with the ink. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start manipulating and pressing, and you might be able to see the black ink trickling down. And then you want to be careful when you do this, because if you press too hard, you'll get a big splotch, which can be cool. Sometimes I've started brush pen drawings that way, where I'll just squeeze and let some dots occur. And now, again, this is going to be an abstract piece, so I don't really have a specific vision in mind for this. When I execute my brush pen drawings, what I do is I just start with a single mark, and then from there I start building. And this tool is incredibly sensitive to pressure. So if you're going, and this is true for other forms of pen and ink as well, but particularly so with this tool, it's incredibly sensitive to pressure and then also speed. So the lighter and the faster I mark, the thinner my mark is going to be, and then the heavier I press and the slower I go, the mark will then become thicker. So I'll just start out with a single mark. And when I execute brush pen drawings, I'm holding my breath regularly. In sports and whatnot, and in many forms of drawing, I wouldn't necessarily advocate for that, but with brush pen, I want complete stability. I want my surface to be stable. I don't want any kind of movement happening with my body. So when I'm actually marking, it's rhythmic, and I'm usually holding my breath, and I'm barely touching the surface as I begin the drawing. Then I press a little more, and then I pull back off. Many times I'll mimic my initial form, and then I might start branching off. Turn up here, and I'm going to start. I kind of pinched into that little point. Now I'm going to start expanding back from that point. One thing that I like to do in my brush pen drawings too is I'll start getting a kind of pattern like that, and then I'll weave in between. I'll do so in a rhythmic manner. Add a little bit of wiggle. You can get marks that are that thin. You can also achieve marks that are this thick. Slower, pressing heavier. Start looking at it from different angles, a little bit more like a bird there. this edge is not as clean as I would like. It's a double-edged sword. It's risky to go back in and reinforce because you can make things worse. I try to strive for 1 mark per line, but if it's not as clean as I want, sometimes I will go back in and reinforce. So for me right now, the piece is, there's elements that I'm pleased with, but it's too uniform. I want some area with more weight or more concentration. At this point in the drawing, I'm going to flip it and evaluate it from different angles, see if anything is speaking to me. And now try to build a bit more up into this corner. I'm always, when I'm doing these brush pen drawings, trying to strike a balance between being rhythmic and creating marks, and then also evaluating to see if the piece hits. You never know when one final mark is going to complete your piece, and it's going to have just that quality where you know that it's done. These pieces can end with any mark. There have been brush pen drawings that I've done before that have only been 6 marks. One thing about the brush pen drawings too that you have to be mindful of when you're doing these is that the ink is still wet for a little while. So I'm trying not to put my hand back over the top of the marks that I've made. It's a hard balance to strike. Risk reward. Is adding more marks going to enhance the piece or detract from it? Make sure my pen is nice and juicy. At this point, to me, the drawing is pleasing. It has nice movement, fairly interesting negative space forms, some variety of marks, some longer, thicker marks, some shorter, almost stippled marks. I almost came in and built off of this single line, but I kind of liked how clean and graphic that area was. So at this point, I think I'm going to wind the drawing down. These tools are also water soluble, so in future videos I will show you about how I can apply water to the ink and it becomes very much like watercolor. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the video. I hope that it was both educational and informative. It's an exciting time for Art League Online. We have new videos coming up featuring more and more artists associated with Art League. Please stay tuned. Thank you.